can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. It. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
High fly, right field, back and gone! Game-tying seventh inning home run, Josh Naylor. Broken back, dropping, base hit, they've done it again! This time, Cole Young, walk-off win once more for the Mariners!
Here we go. It's another edition of the Daily Puck Drop. It is Tuesday, June 2nd. Welcome in, kiddos. Thank you for watching and listening to this, little podcast that we do every single day. Talking Seattle sports. Big thanks for everyone, all our sponsors, everybody checking in. Great show for you on a Tuesday. As always, we'll talk to John Canzano from johncanzano.com, the bald-faced truth. Coming up momentarily, we'll get more baseball with the real, not the fake, the real Brad Adam coming up a little bit later. Talking M's, Rams offseason, Seahawks making news by signing a defensive player. Not the one that you're thinking of, but Derrick Hall has signed a contract. We'll get into that now. We'll focus and all eyes will be on Devin Witherspoon. Big thanks to Limback Lumber for being, of course, the sponsor of the studios here at Puck Sports, the Limback Lumber Studios. Contractors, they got free deliveries, everything from whole house packages to homeowner DIY projects. Largest stock moldings in the Northwest. Swing on by. I talked to Paul, the owner, today, or he sent me a text saying someone stopped in today and said, hey, thank you for supporting the Daily Puck Drop on Puck Sports. I love it. Thank you for being a part of it. It's great. Just wanted to say thank you. So, you know what? Awesome. Go there and buy your lumber. They've been doing business since 1930. They're old school. They're the nicest people in the world. They're going to take care of you. They're not going to rip you off. Give them a call. Tell them I sent you 206-782-3487. Visit them at limbacklumber.com. You can visit me on social media. And what do we always say about social media? That's a place where we all get along, free, open thoughts, a place where you can agree to disagree. It's Puck Sports everywhere except for TikTok. It's Puck_sports. And go to pucksports.com, sign up, become a member of the Pucks Posse. Just $5 a month. Give you bonus shows throughout the week. Tuesdays, Sports Pit with Stretch. Wednesdays, Inside Pitch with Ryan Divish. And Thursdays, KJ Arntz with Mitch Levy. We'll talk more Mariners coming up later in the program with Brad Adam, who will join us, of course, from Mariners TV. Quickly, again, another win, 3-2 last night, 7 straight wins for the Mariners. They now have won 4 of their last 5 one-run games. This was an area that they struggled at all season long, but they've turned it around of late. Despite some things and questionable things that they did last night in the game, I just want to know from someone down there to ask the question is this, to Dan Wilson and the coaches. What is the organization's philosophy when they are up in the bottom of the 10th inning and it's a tied ball game? I don't understand their logic of not bunting the guy over. Maybe I'm just too old school. It worked out yesterday. It worked out because the pitcher for the Mets had a brain fart and he kept looking back or stepping off to get a Rosarina at second. So then Randy knows he can't do it again and it's a full count, so he's going to steal third base. I mean, it was more about the Mets pitcher just not understanding what to do and Randy being heads up and going. But, I mean, they win that game because Randy's not going to score from second on that. And I just want to know. I want to know if Patrick Wisdom can't put down a bunt, then why is Patrick Wisdom here? Someone's got to be able to just put down a bunt to get the runner from second to third. Yes, maybe you don't like that old school way of baseball, but there's still a place for it. It's just still a place. And they're going to need that in the postseason. You had Cole Young coming up anyways. You just needed him at third, so a base hit or really what you were hoping for was a sac fly gets him home. I want to know why Dan Wilson or this team just does not want to have anyone bunt other than Cole Young. I think Cole Young's the only guy that he ever trusts to do it. But anyways, that's despite it has nothing to do with really they won the game, so whatever. But again, that's kind of stuff we'll kind of catch up with them, I think, eventually. Hancock, brilliant again, 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 7 strikeouts. Lowers his ERA now to 2.80. Bullpen was great. Ferrer, Brash, Munoz, Spire rested 4 innings, 5 strikeouts, 0 walks. They were just dominant. And Colt Emerson, maybe we haven't talked enough about Colt Emerson's start to his professional career, but another home run, his 3rd home run yesterday. The guy is slugging damn near 600, this 20-year-old, and his OPS is at 900. And the one thing that was holding him back from AAA of coming up here was his offense, and he has been sensational to start. We'll wait and see what comes out later here on Tuesday about what the situation with Josh Naylor is, the back spasms, but it doesn't appear to be all that serious. Some NFL notes before we get to John Canzano. We'll talk all things college football and just sports in general. Derrick Hall, 3-year deal, $42 million there for the Seahawks. $21 million guaranteed. Still waiting on Devin Witherspoon. This is a great signing. Hall's instrumental along with this Seahawks defense has been great. They've got cap space, locking up their defensive players. They'll put their bullseye now on Witherspoon to get him done. Rams offseason, we talked about a little bit on Monday's show, active this year, what they've done. The Myles Garrett trade, the Trent McDuffie trade, the signing of Jalen Watson. I mean, that team, the thing I like about the Rams is they do go all in. And they are trying to win a championship. Stafford comes back, right, gets the new deal. So they are putting all their eggs in this basket to go out and try and win it. They're aggressive. It's a good offseason for them. I don't think anybody could shy away. Should they be the favorite of the NFC? Yeah, they should be the favorite of the NFC. They've done more and added more this offseason than Seattle. Doesn't mean they're going to beat Seattle again. No, but not like Seattle was head and shoulders better than them a year ago. The Rams were right there. So we'll have about more on that one. Rob Staten, by the way, is going to join us on Wednesday's show to talk about the flurry of moves there by the Rams and just the Seahawks in general. Coming up next, John Canzano, Bald-Faced Truth. You can check out his podcast, YouTube pages everywhere. Also, check out his work at johncanzano.com. He's coming up next after a word from Flat Stick Pub. If it's fun you desire, it's fun you're going to get at Flat Stick Pub. It doesn't matter what the occasion is, whether it's date night, guys night, ladies night, or large group event, Flat Stick Pub's got you covered. They have 6 great locations across the Pacific Northwest, from Pioneer Square to Kirkland, South Lake Union, Spokane, Bellingham, and Redmond. All locations offer the best pub experience in Washington. 2 rules at Flat Stick Pub: drink local and have fun. Pretty simple. So if you like to have fun, love local beer, and great tasting food, make Flat Stick Pub your next spot. Visit them at flatstickpub.com. Here's John Canzano, johncanzano.com, the Bald-Faced Truth. Check out his podcasts, pages everywhere where you get your podcasts, and also on YouTube. He joins us every single week, brought to you by Flat Stick Pub. What kind of little league, high school, college bunter was John Canzano?
I was a good bunter. My dad was a professional baseball player. We worked on the little things. It's always little things that win you those games. Ask UCLA. St. Mary's, played the better baseball against the best team in the country. You can get down a bunt. You can do those little things. You're a smart player. Look at the Mariners, though. Lightning in a bottle. Just when you left them for dead, Puck, what do they do?
I didn't leave them for dead. I never left them for dead.
What do they do?
I didn't leave them for dead. I've changed my underwear in a week, so that's weird. Are you superstitious?
Yeah, a little bit. I think anybody who's been around the game of baseball, doesn't it lend to superstition like no other sport?
Yeah,
because
I think so.
I'm watching the regional teams at the Eugene Regional, and I was watching, Washington State's pitcher on Saturday night was throwing great early against Oregon. And as he came off the mound, he stepped on the foul line as he was going to the dugout. And I was like, ooh, he stepped on the foul line. Don't do that. Like, you're throwing well.
What are we doing?
In what other sport do we do that?
How was it? I was as locked in as I can be. I'm not one was watching college baseball all year long, but I was so happy and proud of as an alum to see them in it. Friday, they all were gay. Even Saturday's game was great, but Friday's game was just electric. Nick Lewis was sensational, defeating Oregon State, and then Oregon State gets him back there on Sunday night. But overall, Oregon wins the regional. They move on. They knock off Oregon State. What was the vibe like? Certainly the weather played a factor in on Friday, but overall, what was your takeaway from it?
Well, I thought you had 3 really good teams in that regional. I don't think Yale was up to the task, but the other 3 teams were really good, and they all pitched well. There were only 4 home runs hit in that regional. It was the fewest of any of the 18 regionals. So for all the talk about, PK Park's a hitter's park, look at the home runs, look at the guys on Oregon's bench, how big they are. They're all a bunch of weightlifters. Only 4 home runs. I thought pitching was the name of the game. Oregon had the best pitching throughout the weekend.
Yeah.
Washington State, I thought the starter on Friday was fantastic. You mentioned Lewis. I even think on Saturday, they came back and they had a really good 5-6 innings out of the starting pitcher. It just sort of tapered off after that. And, same for Oregon State. I thought their starting pitching was fine. I think just, the crowd was great. PK Park doesn't get a lot of love for the crowd, but they gave student tickets free and they put the students right behind the dugouts. And so it was packed. And so it ended up being a little bit of a home field advantage, especially in that Oregon State game on Sunday in the 7th inning. You had the pitcher, I thought, the crowd got in his head a little bit.
Yeah. You should have tracked down the kid that had his shirt off that looked like he had been getting after it for about 15 hours on Saturday behind home plate, the Oregon Duck fan. That guy was, you want to talk about lubed up. That guy was lubed up hard, man. He had been, that was an early AM start for that guy.
Yeah. Here's the other thing. Like when I arrived there, I'm used to going to Autzen Stadium for football games, and you park in the Autzen Stadium parking lot to go to the baseball game because the baseball field's right there next to the parking lot. They don't charge you for parking. It's easy to park and then get in and out of there. You're used to the football crowd when you're parking there. So it was really nice to kind of drive up. And I thought, gosh, if you lived in that area, why wouldn't you go to college baseball games? And, I thought for Washington State, you got Nathan Choate, the coach there, big breakthrough year for him. 2 years ago, he told me he was selling his guys on this vision of like, just stick with me. I don't know who we're playing. I don't know what conference we're in, but just stick with me. 5 of those guys were in the dugout with him during the regional. Like they just stayed with him. And I think that says a lot about his program and what he's building there. I think he can use this for a little trajectory into the new Pac-12. I think Oregon State is missing something right now. They don't have the 2, 3, 4 hitters that they historically have had. Their lineup, I thought, it felt to me, and you've been at baseball games, everybody who's watching has been at baseball games where you run into a team that's just not a very good offensive team, and it feels like the 6, 7, and 8 hitters are always at the plate. Like there's nobody you're scared of if you're the opposing team. I had that feel for this Oregon State team. They play excellent defense. They can pitch it. They just couldn't manufacture runs and put enough pressure on that pitching staff on the other side. So, and then Oregon goes off to the Austin Regional. Are they good enough to win? Sure. Would I bet on them? I think they're about a 40% chance, 40% chance to beat Texas in Austin. But Oregon's built, they got the pitchers. They got a couple guys who can hit bombs. They're just not as consistent. And I worry a little bit against a really good Texas pitching staff that they will struggle at the plate. So we'll keep an eye on that. But I think if Oregon's pitching staff can make this, look at what Oregon's pitching staff gave up. What did they give up? 2, 1, and 0 runs, in the games. It's incredible.
The kid that hit the 3-run home run Saturday might be the largest individual I've ever seen.
6'4", 260. 6'4", 260.
How does he not play football?
I thought about that. I thought Dan Lanning should just back a van up to the stadium and have a bunch of guys grab him and zip tie him and throw him into the van and take him over to the football stadium. Like he's a big kid. He struggles a little bit with the breaking ball. I thought Oregon State made him look bad in a few at bats, because they really could pitch it. But he came to the plate in the 9th inning, the top of the 9th inning of that game, and there was 2 runners on. I turned to the writer next to me and I said, he's going to hit a 3-run bomb. And the next pitch, he hit it over the center field fence. I mean, you throw him a fastball, he knows what to do with it.
I just put him at tight end or DN. Just be like, go chase the quarterback or go catch the ball. All right. Speaking of college football, bipartisan bill came out a few days ago. Ted Cruz in Texas, Maria Cantwell's from our state. It's called the Protect College Sports Act. It would allow NCAA to limit transfers, eligibility. It would enforce a spending cap. It would give conferences the ability to pool their TV rights. Coaches could not leave their teams before the season ends, and it would prevent a super league directed at the Big Ten and the SEC. Does it have any teeth?
It has some teeth. There's a lot in there. I sifted through. It's 111 pages. I sifted through that. I encourage anybody who wants to really get into it to go through the 111 pages of that. But here's the thing that's interesting.
That's why they pay you to do it.
I know. Teresa Gold, the Pac-12 commissioner, is going to testify in Washington, D.C. tomorrow. she's gonna, I think, go to bat for this thing and say, hey, look, we need this legislation. There are some really good things in this bill. Like one of them says, you can only transfer once in your college career. The other, you talked about coaches leaving early. It also, wants to put a cap on what you could pay in NIL. There's some good things here that would level the playing field. The pooling of the media rights revenue, it's tricky because it requires there to be consensus on that front. Like the Big Ten and the SEC have to be on board with that. And I can't imagine a scenario where the Big Ten and the SEC would go, okay, let's share revenue with the Pac-12. And we'll figure out what this level playing field. But it's being pushed by not just these senators, but there's about 60 trustees at schools that are not in the Big Ten and the SEC who are pushing these senators to introduce this bill and move it along. And I find that very interesting. This is very much an anti-Big Ten SEC movement, and it's the rest of college athletics. These are trustees in the Big 12. These are trustees in the ACC. This is the Pac-12 commissioner. This is a group of people that are saying, hey, let's think about the greater good. And I think that message is very important and very healthy for the ecosystem. Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, is not going to like this bill. Tony Petitti, the Big Ten's not going to like this bill. And I think for that reason, everyone else should like this bill.
Okay, so how would you make it that they would like it? What would there be? What tweaks would there be to get them on board, or will they just simply never be on board because they want to break away and do their own thing?
I think you got to play their game. Their game is a leverage game. Everybody's watched a billionaire operate, in Seattle or Portland or anyone else knows it's a leverage game. The Big Ten and the SEC have all the leverage. This is a proxy war with ESPN and FOX. We've talked about this last week, 2 weeks ago, that it's Fox and ESPN pushing for the playoff expansion. It's not really the Big Ten and the SEC. The more I unpack the downfall of the Pac-12, I keep looking over at Fox and going, how much did they orchestrate that to get what they wanted ultimately in the Big Ten? Like, how much of a chess game was this that the Pac-12 just got caught up in? So I think you have to play their game. And I've said this from the beginning. Like, if you're one of the group of 6 conferences, or you're the Big 12 in today's world, and ACC in today's world, you are so far behind the Big Ten and the SEC that there is a strength in numbers there that includes not just the majority of Division I schools. You have a majority, but you also have more geography nationally, which means what? You have more lawmakers, which means you have more senators and more, you have more people in Washington, D.C. right now that would maybe be empathetic or sympathetic to your cause. And so I do think it's a time to just kind of pile drive some legislation and say, hey, wait a minute, is what's happening here, first of all, is it legal? Is there an antitrust issue? Secondarily, where do you need to draw the line? Because the SEC has talked about, they would leave the NCAA and go do their own thing. I actually don't think they would. I think it's a big bluff. And I think the rest of college athletics is going, hey, this is not sustainable. Even the Big 10 or the Big 12 and the ACC are looking over going, this is not sustainable. We're losing view of these other 2 conferences as the revenue piles up.
I guess the question I would have to both of them, of the Big Ten and the SEC, would be, don't you want, they can't like the number of transfers. They can't like the spending spree that's going on, or these coaches. It was Ole Miss that got caught in this whole mess. Really with Lane Kiffin bailing on his team before the season was over. Team was in the college football playoff. I just think there's so much more to like there than to dislike if I was the Big Ten or the SEC.
Yeah, I think the parts that they're uncomfortable with are the parts that sort of start to level the playing field again. You start talking about pooling revenue, negotiating together. Could the Big 12, the ACC, all the group of 6 schools, could they band together and go to the TV partners and say, hey, we want to present a uniform TV media package? Would that package be more valuable if you could get the Big Ten and the SEC involved? Yes. But can you guarantee them distributions? But hey, look, the Big Ten and the SEC they're dominating in this cycle. And the Big Ten in particular is dominating. Sure. And so they don't want to change anything really. They want to put a cap on the spending, but they still want the inherent advantages that they have.
Is it the conferences, or just listening to you talk? Is it more about ESPN and Fox? not
I
wanting
think
it to change.
I think it ultimately comes back to ESPN and Fox, but I blame conference commissioners who have ceded power to those TV networks.
Yeah.
And I blame the university presidents for giving the conference commissioners that power. Like, it all comes back to these colleges. These are franchises that were supposed to be higher learning, educational universities, but instead they are functioning as big business and, of course, pro sports franchises. But I think I do blame Fox and ESPN. This playoff thing is crazy because, the SEC wants to keep it right where it is, right? Like, let's keep it to 16 or lower. Now, if it goes above 14 teams, the TV deal says that ESPN, that if it goes above 14 teams as a playoff, then those other games get to go out to bid, which means Fox can grab some. That's why Fox wants 24 teams. That's why the Big Ten, not Fox, Big Ten wants 24 teams, because all of a sudden now Fox can grab 8 or 10 of those games. That's what it's about. Right now, ESPN has a monopoly on the playoff.
And then the SEC doesn't want it because they're in bed with ESPN.
Yes, 100%.
So really,
think about
the
this,
TV
Puck.
networks are running this whole thing, and they just
Yeah.
these presidents of these universities, which you're right, it's no longer, it's turned from higher learning to a profit. I mean,
Yep.
that's what these are. They are actual companies now. They're not universities anymore.
No. And let's go back to when the Pac-12 splintered. Okay. I can remember this conversation like it was yesterday that I had with one of the Four Corners athletic directors. He said the Four Corners schools want to stay together and they want to stay in the Pac-12. This was back when Kliavkoff was Jimmy jacking around with the media deal. And so, he said to me, there are pressures out there that are influencing this decision. And I said, what pressures? And he said, one company in particular. And I said, who? And he said, Fox. And think about this. ESPN gave Colorado a $2.5 million incentive to leave the Pac-12. It was the first domino that fell, to leave the Pac-12 and go to the Big 12. First domino falls. Remember, in the 11th hour, Apple was going to come in. It was going to be Apple TV. It was going to be a streaming deal. It probably would have been just fine for the Pac-12. The bottom line would have been just fine. There was some big upside there for schools like Oregon and Washington. But what happened? In the 11th hour, Fox and the Big Ten came up with the money for Oregon and Washington that splintered it. So what happened? Fox took Oregon and Washington to the Big Ten. ESPN took the Four Corners School to the Big 12. They parted it out. Why? It wasn't just about those brands, Puck. They didn't want Apple in the collegiate sports, live sports programming space. They did not want that streaming platform in that space. John Oran, the great sports media reporter, has done some really good reporting. He said that, there was a concerted effort by the Big Ten, the SEC, Fox and ESPN to keep other streamers out of that space. I keep going back to that conversation and going, this may not have just been about brands. That may have been a preemptive move just to say, hey, we don't want Apple in this space. If Apple gets into this space, Apple's got, more money than, ESPN and Fox. Apple could own the whole thing.
Last thing for you, some great news coming out this week. They made the rule change last year for the College Football Hall of Fame. It was for coaches, they had to have a 600 winning percentage. That was the threshold. And it left Mike Leach, the late Mike Leach, on the outside. He had 596. Now, there's no argument. Anyone can make an argument that he shouldn't be in the College Football Hall of Fame. He has changed football at all levels. NFL, college, high school, youth. His fingerprints are all over it. So it's about time. He's on the ballot. He'll get in. What do you think he would say about it, getting in the College Football Hall of Fame? What do you think that speech would be like?
I think down deep, he'd be honored, because I think he was always an outlier, and he was always a guy who, he valued other people who were outliers. He would have loved that you were doing this, Puck. He told me when I went rogue, I left the paper. He said, this is going to be great. He was texting me, encouraging me. I think he appreciated outside the box. So I think being included in that room would have been cool, but I think he might have publicly said, hey, I wouldn't have wanted to be a member of any club that would have me. He would have had a funny quip like that. He would have told good stories. Think about his induction speech. It would have been epic. I just think he would have, though down deep, I think it would have meant a lot to him to be validated. I know that there were a few times where he was at Washington State, Mississippi State. Look at the places he coached, Texas Tech. would he have loved to be at USC? I would have been fascinated to see what Mike Leach could have done if he would have been given the keys to a Maserati, but it just wasn't who he was as a coach. So I think the validation would have been important to him.
It's gonna be great to watch and him get in. So, all right, thank you so much, JohnCanzano.com. Go subscribe to it. It's wonderful. Also, check out the YouTube page, Baldface Truth. In addition to that, on YouTube, you can check out all podcast platforms, Apple and Spotify. Thank you, John. We appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, buddy.
Drink Georgetown Tavern Beer, your new locally brewed domestic-style lager. 4.2% alcohol. Cheap, good, local.
You want excellence in dining? Visit John Howie's Steak and experience premier Northwest dining. Prime custom-aged steaks, award-winning wine, unmatched level of service. You won't be disappointed. Make your next reservation today at johnhowiesteak.com. Here he is, as always, on a Tuesday from Mariners TV. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Brad Adam. He's with us every single week. His weekly appearance brought to you by John Howie's Steak. Let me tell you there, John Howie's Steak, and Brad knows, you are going to experience the Northwest Premier dining experience. He delivers an unmatched level of service and attention to detail. Plus, he's got other restaurants you can visit that live up to that same standard. Sea Star Restaurant and Raw Bar, Beardsley Public House, Whiskey by John Howie. They have whiskey, but they have food too. So it's not just whiskey, but it's everything. Wildwood Spirits Company. That's located right by me in Ballard.
That's good,
it's a wonderful spot. And, of course, John Howie Catering. Also, they got the John Howie Club. It's fast and free. You get great deals like 10% back on every check, $75 bonus on birthdays, VIP offers, and early tastings. All you got to do is go to johnhowiesteak.com. Well, have you changed your underwear? Are you still wearing the same brassiere? You can't change.
The same Brazilian cut. Yeah.
You can't change. They're on a winning streak.
It's fantastic, isn't it? So much fun right now to watch these guys play.
Do any players have anything that you know that they haven't changed during this winning streak?
Not that I know. No, but, to their credit, they really haven't changed anything this year, what they've done and how they prepare and what they go about. They're getting ready for the game
socks.
stuff.
No one's wearing the same socks every day, same this or that.
Not that I know of, but I wouldn't be surprised,
Who's the most superstitious player on that team?
Oh, geez. Boy, that's a good question.
No, that's why I get paid a lot of money.
Apparently so. I'll have to think about that one.
I'm awful. If I have something like this, I won't. Oh, yeah, I can't stop.
I do little things like I keep using the same pen to score the game. I do that, and if they lose, I switch it up. But I've used the same pen.
You're on a 7-game pen streak right now.
Yeah, that ink better hold out a few more games, right? Yeah. I need to find that out. I'm not sure who is most superstitious. That's a good one. Thank you.
Well,
that'll be a next segment on Mariners pregame.
Well, I think it's great. Well, that is a great Mariners pregame.
Absolutely.
Question to all of them. Who's the most superstitious player on the team?
Yep. We talked about their favorite candy in honor of Julio, trading nerds for autographs with fans. We asked the guys what their favorite candy would be. So now we can say, hey, what's your superstition? You guys keep rolling.
I want to know how many gloves Julio goes through in a season.
Oh, man.
And I don't understand, you always have to break these things in, but how are they? I don't get it. He's got a new one almost every game.
Seems like it, doesn't it? Different color, too.
Different color, everything.
Breaks it in. Maybe he breaks it in during the game, then gets rid of it. I don't know.
I don't know what he does with it. It's him and then Naylor's shoes. But
now did you see the report that we did on Naylor's shoes in Kansas City?
I missed it.
Because Jeremy Guthrie, former Royals pitcher, Orioles for a few years, a Northwest guy. It's his company that does the custom cleats, customcleats.com. So he bought it. He started it. Started wearing those cleats in 2009 when he played with the Orioles. Liked them so much, he bought some of the company, and then they said, "Do you want to buy the whole thing?" He said, "Sure." So Naylor and these guys, just ship shoes to them. They've got a factory in Arizona and New York. that just repurposes the shoes and puts cleats on. They do.
Oh,
softball,
so they're like real
soccer.
shoes.
Yeah, you send them your Air Jordans. They take the sole off and they put on cleats. And it's
I'm doing that.
$190. So I mean, yeah, so not bad. And it's like a week turnaround, I think he said. So it's interesting. And he said that Naylor's been with him just last year and this year. So he's not like his highest volume guy because he's only been 2 years, but he's said he's the highest volume per order.
Yeah, he's got new kicks on every game.
He got a text and he said, Naylor's like, hey, I ordered a bunch of shoes on eBay and I'm shipping it to you. And it was like 45
Jesus. Lord.
But he's great. You know, you've seen him like give them away to fans and just kind of share with them. It's just, he's really cool and very generous with the shoes. And Jeremy, a fellow, sneakerhead, really appreciates kind of Josh's tastes and stuff. So yeah, it was cool to learn kind of how it came to be, the custom cleats.
Let's stick with Naylor. Should people be concerned at all about being removed from the game on Monday with back spasms?
Wow. Yeah, you homer and then you leave. I would imagine precautionary. He was using the gun on his lower right side of his back. We had that on after Dan said that he had back spasms. I would just imagine that's just a day-to-day thing. Okay. Maybe they arrest him today. I don't know how it feels. It probably just how it feels, and he'll be ready to go. Yeah.
Well, they've been brilliant in this winning streak. I think everyone was waiting for them to get to this point, and it took them a while, but I think we've said this repeatedly and everywhere. This is the team I think a lot of people envisioned to start the season. It's playing right now.
And remember, they don't have Donovan or Cal. So the pitching side, the bullpen got healthy, and we saw how good they are. The offense is just on fire right now, and they're still, like I said, missing those two bats. So once those guys get back, and we'll see this full team. But what really impressed me, Puck, and I was thinking about this, is the third of the way through the season, 54 games, they were 4 under 500 and not playing well. And you're like, this isn't going well. But they're a team now that I think because of last year, because of their expectations of themselves, like nothing changed in the preparation for them. They're just getting better results now, like they like to talk about. I think that they're a team that expects to win, that doesn't worry about, injuries and early season and losses and this. Yeah, we're 4 under 500, big deal. It reminds me of the Astros. I talked to the Astros early this year. Remember Taylor Trammell, our old buddy with the Astros?
Yeah, sure.
And some other players that were walking by. This is back in May when we were down in Houston, and they were hurt. I mean, they were last place. And I said, this might be the year you guys maybe don't even get 500. And Taylor's like, no, we're fine. I'm like, you're fine. You have the worst record in the league. The guys are like, wait till we get guys back. We're going to be just fine. I mean, that's kind of the mentality of winners and veterans and guys who know how long the season is and just knows about the up and down, how to navigate. And then once you get healthy, and like the Mariners, I think are there. They're that team that just expects to win, and there's no panic, no worry early. Once they get going like they are now, they're just going to just continue to go.
Yeah, a lot of things that were working against them, I think, in the beginning of the season. You're right. Then to sit there with the Cal injury now and the Donovan injury. But, look at their record. They're 3 games over 500, but they're plus 31 in that run differential. That's second best in the American League. Yankees are number 1. Then it's the Mariners, and then it's the Rays. The Rays are at plus 18, but they're 15 games over 500.
Yeah, I don't know if that can last.
No,
right?
Well, I don't think it can last either.
Yeah.
And I know everyone's excited about the Rays. I think it's going to be the same thing with the Rays. They're very good. They're fundamentally sound. But once the postseason comes or we get close to it, I just don't think they're going to be a factor. I mean, the Mariners have the second best roster in this league. It's it's them and the Yankees.
Yeah, I agree.
So
you look around and like who do you don't match up against, or who would you not want to face? You're right. The only team that I would want to wait for the ALCS would be the Yankees.
Yeah,
because Mariners don't play well there. They're getting healthy too with Rodon and Cole back. That'll be a tough one. But you're right. Everybody else is just wide open. It's just it's fun. And speaking of that, Puck, so real quick, my wife is in Vegas. She's got some work I think it's a work function.
That's what she's saying. Yeah. That's what she's telling you.
It's a pilot convention we have to go to. I'm like, well, you're not a pilot. Wait a second.
Yeah. Why? That's right. She's not a pilot, but she's going to a pilot convention. I've got a lot of questions. You should have a lot of questions as well.
And I said, as soon as you touch down, go to the nearest sports book. I don't care where it is, and put some money on the Mariners to win the West, which I think is probably no odds there because that's a given. And then put them down to win the World Series. I'm excited about it. So hopefully she'll do that. She get her gambling Jones on a little bit while she's working at the conferences. Puck. So
well, she's not going to get a lot of work done at the conferences.
No,
I'm going to tell you that right now. And
my girls are funny. They're like, "What's for dinner?" And I'm like, I don't know.
Oh,
I'm at the game.
You can drive yourselves.
I got the 3 girls. Yeah, you can
drive yourselves to Chipotle, where every teenager goes and pick up the
or how about
the bowl?
How about a freezer full? We got a freezer full of food. Don't you want that?
Yeah, dump it.
Figure it out.
Yeah, get in the freezer.
I don't know.
Pasta and a quick pasta boil and some sauce is always a nice touch.
Easy. Let's go. Yeah. What's for dinner? I don't know.
You guys are adults.
Kidding
you
me?
Make your own dinner.
Exactly.
I'm not making you dinner.
Oh no. So
get on it yourself. But here's the other thing too. And if you look, and I'm sure many Mariner fans have looked ahead to this. And I know this is a broken record for people who watch or listen to this daily. And if you do,
God bless
you're
you.
a saint and you have no life. But their season, like the next 19 games, I mean, this
sets up well, doesn't it?
This is, you can get real fat and happy. They'll finish here with the Mets. And I know it's baseball, anything can happen, but you get Detroit, who's been a disaster. Baltimore, not good. You get the Nationals, and you get Baltimore again. I mean, the Nationals are better than
they're
the other
fine.
teams.
Yeah, but you're right.
Then you get the Red Sox,
who's really
struggling.
All
these teams that are just kind of middling right now, except for the Nationals, of the only one team that's a game over 500. But
that's it.
They got a real opportunity to stretch their legs out.
Exactly, and you just kind of feel it going their direction. You know, the A's are coming back to earth as we thought they would.
Yeah, but I like that A's team.
Yeah, they're a fun offense.
God, that's offense. They have no pitching, but that offense is just so fun.
I mean,
so fun.
It is. It is fun to watch. But they really struggle at home because you said they just can't pitch. I mean, they gave up 13 runs in an inning to the Yankees. 13 runs, no home runs.
That's what makes it so impressive what the Mariners pitchers did in that series.
Yeah, limited them to 4 runs in 3 games. I mean, it's amazing, right? They stopped Kurtz's streak. Soto had a 15-game on-base streak. They just stopped. Marte had an 11-game hitting streak for Arizona. They stopped that. I mean, their pitching has just been so good and so consistent. And now after the piggyback, which, it's controversial maybe, but it's worked 3 times. But now since it has. Now that they've got these 16 games and yesterday was the first, in 17 days, they're going with the 6-man rotation. So
you think they stick that out for the rest of the year?
It's going to be interesting. They're going to reevaluate that. They always give themselves that out, right? Hey, we'll do it for 2 weeks and then we'll reassess.
Well, what if there is? I mean,
maybe
there's no injuries. What do you do?
I know. Maybe you go back to Castillo Miller, or maybe somebody, I don't know, scuffling a little bit. Maybe you pair him with someone. I don't know. Or 6-man. 6-man's just hard because you just lose, those starts from your top end guys. And that's hard to do. But I mean, look at the 6 guys, how well they're all pitching, right?
But it also could be a huge advantage for someone like Brian Wu.
Yeah, keep them healthy, give them rest. Sure.
Could be.
Yep. Get ready for the postseason.
And even maybe Gilbert.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it could be a blessing in disguise.
Could be.
For these guys.
But like we talked about, guys, they want to start. They want to get innings. They want to get incentives in their contracts if they have them. It's a big deal for these guys to be the workhorse and to put up numbers. But yeah, we keep saying it's a good problem to have. So far, I mean, it's not a problem now. I hope it doesn't become a problem. You know what I mean?
But it's usually you avoid the problem when you win.
Yeah, right.
I think ultimately, if they win as a team and this ends up them in the World Series and all that, I think it's clearly easier to stomach. But yeah, they're competitors. They want to play. But I also do think that this group does see the bigger picture.
Right, especially after last season, and the way that they're getting kind of contributions now from everybody. It just feels like it's just such a cohesive team right now. You got pitching, you got the bullpen was fantastic again, and
they've got some depth.
Great maze from Julio and Rayleigh, and I mean Canzano is on fire. Cole Young makes plays, and Colt Emerson. I mean,
Colt
very
Emerson
impressive
to start his Major League Baseball career. Already has 3 home runs. He's slugging .568, and he's got an OPS of .908. I mean, I don't think anybody thought that he would have this start, and eventually, the league will get more information, more data on him. But boy, they've got pretty good sample size already, and he just continues to deliver. This is a guy that wasn't necessarily he was okay down in AAA.
He was okay.
He was striking out a lot,
right?
But his offense was kind of the word of what was keeping him back, and he's been real good over there.
And he's been hitting lefties. Home run last night against a lefty.
Yeah.
It's not like he's going to be a platoon guy or anything. No.
And I liked what they did on Monday. Then I didn't like what they did on Monday because they had the starter who's only in there for an inning, but then it was Minaya comes in who's a lefty. And so they decided to go with Luke Rayleigh. Okay, great. I like that.
Yes.
I was like, you know what?
Let him hit.
Throw Luke Rayleigh a bone.
Absolutely.
He's been hit. I just would have liked to see them throw Canzano a bone instead of Ref Snyder.
Oh, right.
That's just me. I just, if you're going to throw Rayleigh a bone, throw Canzano a bone.
Right. And he's faced more lefties than Rayleigh has this year.
I don't know.
He has, but you're right. Because you got to be thinking postseason, that's what teams are going to do, right? Bring in a lefty as soon as they can and try to get those guys out of the game. But no,
maybe I'm being too hard on Ref Snyder. And I think whatever the decision, I'd be curious from their perspective. What was the decision to go with Rayleigh? Because Rayleigh was not going to see the starter,
probably
most
not,
likely.
Right.
So you're going to see Minaya, and he gets 2 at bats against Minaya, and for whatever reason, why didn't they just let Canzano do that?
I think one of the reasons is that they're really trying to get Ref Snyder going. He had a decent series in Sacramento.
He did.
Reached base 3 times one game, hit the 3-run home run in the first inning.
That's fair.
And they need to get him going because, these pinch hit opportunities late in games are going to happen all season long, right? And postseason. So they need to try to get him going. Yeah. But you have a good point, too. I mean, those guys are going to have to face lefties at some point, too.
Okay. Now that you and I are junior managers, let me just ask you this. Maybe in the pregame, after you ask about the superstitions and all this, you can put a microphone on Dan Wilson's face and ask this question for me.
Okay.
What is it? Worked out yesterday or in the Monday game with the extra inning win because of Rosarina heads up base running gets the third. Yes. Why, when they're the home team, do they their philosophy is to not bunt? Why is that?
In the extra, in the 10th?
Yeah. Because you got the runner there, and maybe you're going to say, well, Patrick Wisdom is not comfortable doing it. Well, then he should be. He's a utility guy off the bench. He should be asked and should know how to bunt.
Right.
Because you have Cole Young coming up. No one's expecting. The worst thing for Patrick Wisdom could be to strike out and not move the runner, or just not move the runner over. Why not just lay down a bunt? Because Young's coming up, and then all it takes is a fly ball.
Right. I don't know. That's a good question to ask him. That their philosophy really is
they
not.
Just don't do it.
They don't do small ball, right? And what an advantage too in extras to be the home team, especially when in the last 3 extra inning games, 3 or 4 they've won in the 10th, and they have blanked the opposing team in the top of the 10th. I mean, that's hard to do once, but they've done it 3 times.
Gabe Spire on Monday was phenomenal in the heart of the order, starting with Soto. It was just, I was aroused.
You were aroused. It was great. So, you do that, you go to bottom of 10, you're like, well, do we give up an out and move him to third? Not when the pitcher, gosh, this was unbelievable. This Minter guy, the lefty for the Mets, he disengages twice, turns like he's going to throw back to Randy at second, doesn't. So Randy knows he can't pick him off.
Third.
It's full count, so this guy's got to throw a strike. So he's gone. Easy steal. I tell you, and I don't have data on this, but it seems to me bad baseball. It seems to me that the Mariners take more advantage of these new rules in stealing than any other team. I mean, how do you explain Josh Naylor stealing like 29 bases or whatever he did? Because he's smart and he knows that when guys just can't throw over. So
I think
it's
some
an
of these
easy
pitchers,
stolen.
I think some of these pitchers just forget to. I think they forget the rules.
True.
I think they forget the engagement and all that.
It was crazy last night. It was such a mistake by the Mets. So
that's a great point because until you brought it up, I didn't even really think about that. That he'd look back twice to him. Yeah.
So he's got nothing in the full count.
Yeah.
He's not going to try to pick off. So
yeah.
And then okay. So then you're on third. So the infield's in. Now, if the infield's back at regular depth, the shortstop might have caught that ball. That was a shallow pop to left field. He might have caught that, and Randy's still on second. So it was a huge point in the game. Just everything, just little things like that are falling in their favor right now.
Well, they're playing great. They're doing it all at once. They're getting contributions from everyone, starting pitching, the bullpen, the offense, and all that. And then eventually, I don't know what the time frame is. Maybe it's middle of this month, end of the month. You're going to get Cal Raleigh back and Brendan Donovan back. So it's like adding two guys at the deadline that you really haven't had.
Are we going to do that?
Yeah, that's what
we're going to say that.
Yes, we're doing adding the two guys at the deadline that they already had.
Like trading for two All-Stars, Puck.
That's what it's going to be like. See, this year he doesn't even need to make a move at the deadline.
No, we got two All-Stars coming.
He's got it.
That's fantastic.
He's got guys. It'll be great.
It will be.
All right, Brad Adam, Mariners TV. Catch him every single night on your TV, your streaming package. He's going to be asking players about their superstitions and everything. So
awesome. And
his weekly visit with us is all brought to you by John Howie Steak. Go visit, make your next reservation, if I can spit it out, at johnhowiesteak.com. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you, buddy.
You want excellence in dining? Visit John Howie Steak, an experienced premier Northwest dine. Prime custom aged steaks, award-winning wine, unmatched level of service. You won't be disappointed. Make your next reservation today at johnhowiesteak.com.
Hi, I'm Bo with All Aces Concrete Coatings. Garages are my favorite part of the house. I chose to partner with Pentec because they give me the proper tools and support to do my job right. My favorite part of doing the garages and any flake system is the transformation that happens in one day.
Welcome to Hive Social, the social network that brings your real-world proximity to life. Tired of endless scrolling and fake connections? Privacy is built into the heart of Hive with easy-to-set-up safety fences and visibility controls. Whether you're here to hang out, network, or meet someone new, create events, share photos and videos, and keep the conversation going with built-in chats for every connection and every moment. Download now and see what's happening around you.
All right, on this day, of course, is brought to you by Hive Social every single day. Hive Social, the official Puck Sports social meetup app. You can download it to iOS and Google Play. On this day, a big event happening on June 2nd, 1990. Where was everyone? I know exactly where I was. Ladies and gentlemen, the first one in Seattle Mariners history.
Man all alone with himself. And all alone with himself. But not all alone here, as 24,000 incredibly rabid Mariner fans are looking for that final strike. That will set Mariner history. Here comes the left-hander's wind. The 0-2 pitch on the way. Strike! It's over! He has done it! High fastball, Randy Johnson being mobbed by Scott Bradley down to greet him and the entire Mariner team. Here on the 2nd of June, it ends at 9:51 Pacific Daylight Time. Randy Johnson with the first Mariner no-hitter in history.
Sitting up in the 300 level of one for that one, Randy Johnson on June 2nd, pitching the first no-hitter in Mariners baseball in 1990. The Mariners defeating the Detroit Tigers 2-0. It was a wild affair for Randy Johnson. He throws, I mean, you would never do this anymore in today's baseball. He threw 138 pitches in that game. The best part is that he walked 6 guys. I mean, there were guys all over the bases. He ended up striking out 8. Randy, of course, would go on to throw more and win more Cy Youngs and all that. And just the really start of his brilliant career there with the Mariners. But the first no-hitter there in Seattle Mariners history, all of it happening on June 2nd, 1990. On this day, of course, always brought to you by Hive Social, the official Puck Sports social meetup app. We conclude every show with, hey, what the Puckett is our final word. It's brought to you by another great sponsor of ours, Tersuli Construction. From emergency response to full-scale rebuilds and remodels, Tersuli Construction is a full-service contractor handling your project from start to finish. Locally owned and operated out of Ballard and proudly serving the Puget Sound region for over 15 years. If you're dealing with damage or planning what's next, give a team that does it all a call. Tersuli Construction, restoring what matters and building what's next. Give them a ring, 206-793-3744, and visit them at tersuli.com. We touched on this with John Canzano, but I wanted to save it also for the last word. Mike Leach finally has been added to the College Football Hall of Fame ballot for the 2027 class. Why the holdup? Well, as we noted with John, it was a ridiculous rule. The Hall had a career winning percentage for coaches at 600, and Leach there was at 596. So he wasn't there, but they made an exception, and they changed the rule last year, and for good reason. There probably is no coach in the history of college sports that has had more, at least in college football, maybe in football in general. There's very few that have had the impact that Mike Leach has had. And you see the tentacles of his offense. That is, that has parts of the West Coast offense, has certainly parts of Lavelle Edwards, but he put his own spin on the air raid along with Hal Mummy. The air raid offense is everywhere now. There's massive principles of it in the National Football League. The spread offense now that we see in college football is the direct result of what the air raid was, now with new wrinkles and new twists. You go to high school, see it all the time in high school. Hell, I see it in youth football of teams running the same concepts, the mesh concept, the two receivers kind of cross over each other over the middle. That is like the most common basic route in the air raid, and I see it all the time. So his impact on the game is massive, and it should be a no-brainer that he will get into the Hall of Fame. Glad that the College Football Hall of Fame made the changes and made the adjustment to include him. It's too bad that he's not here to go into the Hall of Fame, to have his speech, because his speech, no doubt, would be unbelievable. It would be a one-of-a-kind, because he was a one-of-a-kind person and a one-of-a-kind head coach. Congratulations to Mike Leach, who, again, is on the ballot. No doubt will go in later this year. That's Hey What the Puck, again, brought to you by Tersuli Construction. Restoring what matters and building what's next. Give him a call, 206-793-3744. All right, coming up on the show tomorrow, Wednesday, we will have Ryan Divish coming on, talk Mariners baseball, a part of the Puck's Posse Inside Pitch. Rob Staten is back. He's going to come back tomorrow and talk the Seahawks and talk Rams off-season. So great to catch up with Rob coming up on tomorrow's show. So be on the lookout for that. Also, coming out later today, another edition of the Sports Pit with Matt Stretch Johnson. Got to be a Puck's Posse member for that one. Also, the full Inside Pitch and KJ Arns as well. Thank you for everyone watching and listening to today's show. Thank you to all of our sponsors that make it happen. Limback Lumber, Flat Stick Pub, Georgetown Brewery, All Aces Concrete Coating, Hive Social, and Tersuli Construction. Find today's Daily Punch up on YouTube. When you're there, please subscribe to the channel, like the channel, leave a comment. We'll try to get to as many as we possibly can. And, of course, you can find it on all your podcast platforms as well, Apple and Spotify. If you're there, leave a comment, write a review. It would be great. Also, check out pucksports.com. Mentioned before, joining Puck's Posse, $5 a month. And again, you get bonus shows like the Sports Pit with Stretch, Wednesdays, full Ryan Divish of Inside Pitch, and then a full KJ Arts with Mitch Levy on Thursdays. Also, be on the lookout for the Garage with Gas Take 5 podcast. We now produce it here at Puck Sports. New episode came out yesterday. Check it out on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. New episodes drop every Monday afternoon. All right, that's it for us on a Tuesday. We'll talk to you tomorrow on a Wednesday. As always, promise to be better.
No shirt, no shoes, no ties.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you, but you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for? We like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!